don't have a PowerPoint. So good afternoon. Thanks for having me here. I'm very excited to be here and was very pleased to see this report come out. As Hugo said, and Stephen, I think it's a very timely report given the complex humanitarian landscape that is now crowded with conflict-driven food crises and protracted emergencies that are testing the capacity of all of our partners. And it's really critical to kind of take a look and look back and take stock of the opportunities that we have still within this very complex environment, but the challenges that we face as well. We in Food for Peace, for you, those of you who don't know, we are the largest donor to World Food Program. We're the largest food assistance donor in the world, and we kind of lead for the federal government on food assistance funding and programming. So we very much see the challenges of our partners, especially WFP, as being our own challenges. And we're kind of doing our own internal data polls right now, and we see many of the same kind of corresponding issues that were identified in this report within our own data sets as well. When you see kind of fluctuations in budget and where that budget is focused in this report, we see the same kind of corresponding changes. The changes in modality, we see the same type of corresponding changes. So we feel very synced up in terms of what we've presented in this report to what we see in our own data and kind of our own experience as food assistance actors. So a few key themes kind of emerged within this report that I just wanted to touch on quickly that we in Food for Peace also feel are really important to draw attention to, and again, we're glad to see them focused on here. And one being that I think is one of the most critical is this idea of flexibility within how we respond to emergencies. So over the past decade, there's really been this evolution in humanitarian assistance with the rise of cash-based transfers and other modalities to respond to emergencies. And really, food assistance kind of led the way in a lot of this. And the capacity of WFP to do and move into this space really kind of pushed, I think, all humanitarian assistance in that way. What we really kind of value is the ability to move between the different modalities and to look at the context and what is happening on the ground to be able to determine what's the right approach, and often it is a blended one. We're able to take better advantage of local markets where they're functioning and can help jumpstart markets when they're in recovery. And we give beneficiaries more choice. So, this is something that we really feel passionate about within Food for Peace in terms of this evolution of food assistance. And I think in the report there's the suggestion of a diversity of instruments and market-friendly interventions that are necessary components of effective food assistance. So this is right in line with our own thinking. We support WFP and all of our partners in the use of the modality and approach that's best in any given context. So it's local purchase, it's U.S. in kind, it's cash, it's vouchers. And I really appreciated kind of the data that did show that there is no right approach. We often get into very theoretical, conceptual arguments as donors as whether or not there's one way forward. And we've always kind of said we're modality neutral in a sense, as much as our budget allows us to be, where we try to pick the right tool in each context, or we work with our partners to pick the right tool in each context. Sometimes there's limitations and we have to pick the second best way forward, but we do really appreciate the ability that having a flexible toolbox, in a sense, gives us to partner with WFP and others to design sophisticated programs that can evolve with the dynamic and changing environments that we're all faced with. And this is kind of an evolution. You noted 2009 as kind of being the start of your data set. 2009 is the first time that actually Food for Peace was able to start programming cash and not just U.S. in kind. So again, we've seen that evolution over time. A couple of just quick other themes I just wanted to touch on. Nutrition, targeting, gender, access, these are all really critical to us as well. I wanted just to cite the importance of resilience, and this becomes more and more complicated in conflict settings. How do we do resilience in conflict settings? And I think this is something we're struggling with internally as a community. Making sure that we don't lose that focus on having communities have the tools, the resources, and the ability themselves to bounce back from a current crisis. And that even though the situations are getting difficult or more difficult than perhaps just, the layer of conflict makes things more complicated, that we still have to make sure we don't lose that focus on resilience building, because that is going to be our path forward to zero hunger. just to kind of close, because I know we're short on time, there were a couple of challenges that I also just wanted to highlight too. I really appreciated the analysis on the different barriers and kind of the burdens to delivering food assistance. And we see this especially in the access area, and it's something that I think as the United States government we've been really trying to call on other governments to allow that access, not just for cost, which is always an important. We want to make our dollars go as far as possible for the safety of our partners, for the safety of our workers, and for the safety of all the people that we're all working to serve together. We want to make sure that is something that is addressed, and we want to look to partner on that more and more. And just to kind of close, those costs and the increase there that has come about because of the extra burden. While I think the international community has stepped up many ways to increase our funding levels, the need and the cost keep rising. So when we see the Lebanons and the South Sudans and just how much those operations cost to run, there's no doubt that the resources we have, if they're not growing, will not make up that gap. And so we continue to enjoy generous budgets from Congress in terms of humanitarian assistance, and we do call on other donors to continue stepping up as well. One last point is I did notice that there was a focus on emergency preparedness and disaster response, but there was also a decrease in kind of logistical capacity that was cited in the report, and not necessarily capacity, but funding by about 11%, kind of a decline in the portfolio. And I think this is something, again, where not just in the food assistance realm, but more broadly, the role WFP plays for all humanitarian assistance. If you look at the critical role that WFP played in delivering medical supplies in the Ebola response, or in coordinating after Hurricane Matthew, the delivery of humanitarian assistance across Haiti, the service that they provide is really unparalleled. And so I think when we kind of focus on how do we evolve and how do we move towards resilience in these other areas, not to lose this capacity, because it's something that is so critical, not just to food assistance, but the broader humanitarian response capacity as a global community. And so that was just one little thing I noticed in the report that I would love to discuss more. Thank you.